Hello everyone, welcome to my review for Alan Wake 2. 2023 has been a blast for us gamers. So much great games in a single year, like it's been a while. And now we go one more. Alan Wake 2 is an amazing experience. The only upfront problems it had was the lack of physical editions and the system requirements being too high. So despite the high requirements, the performance is really good. Like except for a few bugs, the optimization is great overall. It was a smooth experience for me. And the game looks amazing even on the lowest settings. So even if you only have the minimum requirements, the game is gonna be an enjoyable experience for you. The bugs did annoy me. I'm usually okay with bugs as long as it's not a nuisance. So apparently you can visit the Underdark. Didn't know you could do that, but this did annoy me. The game has a save system similar to like the Resident Evil games. You can only save in those certain rooms. So when this happens and when you have to restart from a save, you end up doing many sequences again. Even loading has to be repeated. Apart from that, the game is well optimized. These higher requirements for games coming out, we have had their scenarios a lot in the recent years. It usually ends up being a sign for poor optimization of the game or like a sign of laziness. But in case of Alan Wake 2, I don't think that's true. These requirements are understandable. Just playing it for a while made me understand it. This game actually feels like a next-gen game, or rather it is a next-gen game. Like for real, I finally feel like there is progress and advancement, especially in the visuals. There are so many games that are coming out these days, claiming to be a next-gen experience and all, but only a few of them actually feels like it. And Alan Wake 2 is definitely one of them. And this game is not even $70. I know there's no physical edition because of that, which sucks, but for a PC gamer, it was always like that. Overall, it's really good to see in these days. They made a game they want to make, something they were passionate about, instead of making a safe game. They took a risky path and made a bold game, instead of making something that guarantees money. And when these type of games hits or connects with the audience, the payoff is just incredible for both sides. The visuals are amazing in this game. I mean, you can see, I don't even have to say that. It's one of those games where we are happy to just walk slowly, just to take it all in. Again, I know and agree that realistic visuals, so like better graphics, doesn't always mean it's the best visually. But here they're taking every advantage from this to push it even further. The lighting, the character animation, the details on even the smallest things are all amazing to see. We also have live action scenes in the mix, which are all well acted by everyone. And with these visuals, the transition between gameplay and live action stuff is not that jarring like we have come to expect. Now, this is not the scariest game or anything. Well, it's not trying to be. It's the settings and the sinister, creepy vibes are what provides tension while also telling a really good narrative. And for the gameplay, especially the combat, it is nothing extraordinary, but it does its job. You can clearly see it's not the focus of the game, but the combat in no way dulls the experience. It does its job. So if I can compare it to something, I would say it's similar to the Resident Evil games. So the challenge comes from limited resources and ammo, lesser accuracy for guns, and also the lack of frequent auto and manual save. I usually don't like this, like limiting our character's capability, but in these type of games, given these settings, it actually works very well. It adds more realism and tension. In Alan Wake 2, we play as two characters. That's why it's named as Alan Wake 2. We play as Saga Anderson, an FBI agent, and Alan Wake, the writer. We have to play each of their chapters, which together tells the same story, but from a different perspective and world. For Saga, we play in the real world, and for Alan, we play him in the dark place. The good thing is, both these playthroughs are fun and different. So which one you like better, it's only gonna depend on your preference, that's all. For Saga, we get a new player experience, like investigating this about the phenomenon and getting more clarification. And her playthrough is definitely more action oriented than Alan Wake. Overall, I can say it's similar to the Resident Evil games like I mentioned before. There are different puzzles, not the annoying ones. Most of the puzzles in the game feels like they had some thought behind it while creating it. And compared to Alan's playthrough, there are more variety in enemies and we also have boss fights. She also has this Mind Palace ability where she can sort information and detect new info from the clues we gather. I will say it's not a complaint, but I wish there was something more. More as a challenge for the case board, like maybe failing it multiple times can kick you out, even if just for a second. It's nothing that's significant, but that could have made it a better experience. Now for Alan Wake, the focus is completely different. We get more into the details of everything happening. And his playthrough, especially since it happens in the dark place, is more of a psychological horror. It's creepy, it has that trippy feeling, and the things they do are more creative and bizarre, which is understandable because they have more freedom given the setting. And there are some really cool segments for Alan Wake. I don't want to spoil anything. All I can say is experience it yourself. Now Alan also has his own unique sets of puzzles and special abilities. He can change the story from a plot point we can acquire to change a single area, like the appearance and ambience of an area changes according to it, and it also helps in progressing towards the goal. So with all of this, we get a good mix of everything. Both their playthroughs keep it refreshing and engaging. You can play the respective chapters in whichever order you want except for a few, but I will recommend you play one story level as Saga, and when it ends, do an Alan Wake level. Do it back and forth. This keeps the gameplay loop more engaging, and also it helps us understand the story better because we remember more. The story I didn't focus yet. All I want to say it's great and I got hooked on it from chapter 1. I just don't want to get into it too much because it's just hard to talk about anything without spoiling at least something. It's something different, but also something that works very well. Like I said, play the game, the story alone is worth it. We also have amazing visuals, really good presentation for everything, acting and voice acting performance. The music is also really good. That's all you can ask for. I will also recommend to at least watch a recap of the first game. It definitely helped me understand the story better. I don't think it's required, but I think it can give you a good foundation for what's happening in Alan Wake 2. Another thing I really like, it's a small thing, it's the explanation to the boundary limitations or weapon upgrade. There are really good explanations for all of them, which fits the story. So as I mentioned before, I had problems due to the bugs, and I also had a slight dissatisfaction from the ending. It is good by all means, I think it was great, but it's just, let's just say, after finishing it, I want more. I want whatever's coming next as soon as possible. I don't care if it's a DLC or a sequel. That's how I can say it without spoilers. That's all I want to focus on. Let's give it a rating. So I'm gonna give Alan Wake 2 a 9 out of 10. Aside from the few bugs and the nature of the ending, it's a perfect game for me in every other way. I had an amazing time and I'm super hyped for the sequel or the DLC, whatever they are planning. These are the type of games I want more. Not following a trend, just making something they want to make and giving it the dedication and heart it deserves. That's all from me. If you like this, give a like and subscribe.